man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the Lebron James.
This is your boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, Dash the True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Black Ops 6 commentator video gameplay for you guys, and oh boy, here we go. So before we get into the topic, y'all know what the topic is. I want to apologize because I believe it was a week off because so the last video that I put out, it was, I believe, I'm trying to remember exactly when I did this. When I put that video out, which was on a Wednesday, I want to say that I left. I flew to New York, or really to Jersey City, because of a Pokemon Go event that I was a part of. So I left, and I managed to put out a video before I left, though. But I put out the video, and then when I came back, I was like trying to get into the flow of things, and I was having a hard time doing that when I came back. And to a degree, I'm still having a hard time doing that because I'm trying to catch up with YouTube videos that I was unable to watch while I was out of town. And there's some other videos that I've been meaning to work on that I need to work on, and I haven't done it yet. So I've been behind, but we in the process of getting back to the flow of things. And it starts with this video right here, this whole ring culture fiasco. So let's get on with it. Now, let's go over what started this whole conversation. And this was by Lebron James. He was on a podcast. I forgot the name of it. I will see what it is in a second. But he said the following. I'm about to play the clip right now, so check this out, folks.
A ring is a team accomplishment. I don't know where it started. It's just it's a long conversation, especially when it comes to, like, me individually. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport. You tell me, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, our wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won 1 ring or won 2 rings or won, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has 1 ring. Barry Bonds never won a World Series. You can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat.
All right, so that was the Mind the Game podcast. So there was that. Now, there's 2 elements that I'm going to tackle. And the first element is this. Some of you may find this to be shocking. Others may agree with me. And that is this. When it comes to the whole ring culture fiasco, LeBron James is not qualified to talk about it. Why do I say that? Because he got 4 rings. He got 4 rings. And it's the fact that he got 4 rings add on to his legacy. So it's the fact that he got those 4 rings in combination with everything that he accomplished as an individual basketball player. Obviously the individual stats and individual accomplishments, stuff like that. So, like the records and the MVPs and stuff like that. All of that rolled into where LeBron is at right now, which is, in my opinion, and the opinion of most, the 2nd greatest basketball player of all time. If he did not have those 4 rings, he would be lower. Will he still be in the Mount Rushmore? Possibly. But in my opinion, I would still have him top 10. But at the same time, it's like, looking at my top 10, everybody got at least 1 ring. I would now that I think about it, I would probably say everybody in my top 10 got at least 2 rings. Now that I think about it. So it's like, if you want to be top 10, you got to have at least 2 rings. Maybe 1. Once upon a time, it probably was 1. I think Oscar Robertson only had 1 ring. I could be mistaken on that. Like, I never seen him play. I don't think I was alive when he played. But yeah, I want to say Oscar Robertson, he was on my top 10 at one point, but I want to say he only got 1 ring. And the only reason why he's not in my top 10 anymore is because of a number of reasons. Number 1, LeBron rose and basically, took over. But number 2, Steph rose And, that was another reason. Number 3, Russell Westbrook done what Oscar did, and that was average a triple-double. And he did that, 3 times? Russell Westbrook did that, 3 times, while Oscar only did it once. So, and that was really the only reason why, he only won an NBA championship one time. So that was the only reason why Oscar was in my top 10 at one point, because aside from him being an NBA champion, which he did once, but he also averaged a triple-double throughout the entire season. But when Russell Westbrook did it 2 or 3 times and won regular season MVP in the process, like Oscar, then it was well, there's nothing special about Oscar aside from the fact that he's a phenomenal basketball player. He's top 15 without question. But he's no longer top 10 because of those 3 elements. But back to the original topic. And that is this. LeBron's not qualified to talk about this because he got 4 rings. He got 4 rings. You know who would be more qualified to talk about this? The likes of, and they did, Tracy McGrady, Gilbert Arenas, Chris Webber, Patrick, those 3 talked about already on First Take. But then I'm going to name some other names. Patrick Ewing. Let's see. Yao Ming. Who else? I'm trying to think of other names. And I'm trying to think of names who have not even been to an NBA Finals. I want to avoid guys who've been to the NBA Finals but didn't win it. So that's why I'm not because obviously I can name more names. But I'm trying to think of phenomenal superstars. Oh, Vince Carter. Vince Carter's another one. So I'm trying to think of phenomenal talents, but who not only had not won an NBA championship, but have not even been to an NBA Final. Sean Marion is another one. Steve Nash as a player is another one. I want to say, I could be wrong with that one. Amari Stoudemire is another one. And there's others, but at the end of the day, they would be the ones who would be more qualified to talk about this, because they could say, well, we never won a championship ring, or we never been to NBA Finals, but we're still great players, and that is true. And I can see them making this argument and complaining and stuff like that about how they should be revered as great players, despite the fact that despite the fact that they didn't win a ring, but they never got to an NBA Final. So I can see them making this argument. But at the same, so in the case of LeBron, the fact that he got 4 rings, in my opinion, he's not qualified. Just by that alone, he's not qualified to even start this conversation or to even talk about it, to be honest, because he got 4 rings. Another reason why he's not qualified is it because of the real reason why he brought this. Well, it wasn't he brought this up. It was like a fan topic that came in, but the second reason why, but nevertheless, he's still not qualified to talk about it. The second reason is because he's using it once again to push his own agenda and is being a hypocrite about it. So what do I mean? What I mean by that is this: he still wants people to say that he's the greatest basketball player of all time and that he's better than Jordan. And it's no, like you can't diminish And then I'm not gonna dispute his reasoning behind it yet, because then we'll go be tackling the topic in general. But I'm tackling the topic based off of the fact that LeBron was speaking on it. And it's bro, no. Because again, you were a hypocrite. Because this was also said on First Take. Why did you leave Cleveland the first go round? You want to go to Miami to do what? Win a ring. Or in your case, not just 2, not just 3, not just 4, not just 5. That's the amount of rings that you want to win. More than that, actually. You want to win a bunch of rings right in Miami. Now, you only managed to win 2 and been to 4 NBA Finals, but you went to Miami to win championship rings. That was the main reason why you went there. Now, why did you come back to Cleveland? Because you felt like you had unfinished business. What is that unfinished business? You want to bring a ring to Cleveland, which means you were chasing yet another championship, but you were chasing it for Cleveland. And even though, in my opinion, you shouldn't have gotten that because the NBA kind of bailed you out again while you were in Cleveland, by the way. But nevertheless, it happened. And then you left Cleveland to go to LA. Why did you go to LA? Now, at this point, you want to build your legacy to the point where it's at the same level as Jordan, to the point where you could potentially surpass Jordan, and you felt like the best place to do that is in LA, is as a Laker. Let me be more specific. as a Los Angeles Laker. And here's the thing, when you are a superstar, especially one at that magnitude, and you join the Lakers, you have to win a championship. And you know that. Therefore, you went to LA to try to win multiple championships to build your legacy. So everything you said here, you did the opposite throughout your entire career. So it's like, what are you talking about here? And if you seen Mad Dog's response, yeah, first of all, Peyton Manning, he won 2 Super Bowls. He didn't win just one. So yeah, if you're trying to use that as an argument or whatever, you got to get that correct. You got to get that correct. Now, and then he said that Peyton Manning should be allowed on the same table as Tom Brady. Now, depending on what? In terms of all-time great quarterbacks? Well, yeah, of course. Peyton Manning, once upon a time, while Tom Brady was playing, Peyton Manning was regarded as the greatest regular season quarterback of all time before he won that Super Bowl, his first one, rather. So it's like, yeah, of course, they're going to be at the same table. But so there's levels to this. So in terms of being a great quarterback, yeah, he's going to be the same table as Brady and Mahomes. Now, in terms of Peyton being the GOAT in terms of quarterbacks, no. That's a different table that he's not a part of, because Brady is right there, Mahomes is right there, and Montana is right there. That's it. No one else who plays the position of quarterback is at that table, because you were not the driving force in terms of winning that many Super Bowls. So that's a different table in itself. And then he want to bring up baseball. Talk about Barry Bonds, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, but he didn't win the World Series. And listen to Mad Dog. Like, Mad Dog got a point there. That argument is just fraud as well, because of the fact that, and if you know baseball, which is like, and this argument that I'm about to say is like my main concern in terms of the Tigers winning the World Series this year. Tigers got the best record in all the baseball. They got the 50 wins first before anybody else did. And while, in my opinion, they should be the favorites to win the AL and go to the World Series, but the thing about it is this. The thing about the Tigers is, even though they have good pitching, and they got a Cy Young winner who could be going back-to-back in Cy Youngs, but in terms of their pitching rotation, their pitching staff as a whole, it's like, is it top tier like they're hitting? No. Is it like a step or two behind their hitting, which is phenomenal? But when it comes to postseason baseball, it's not about the bats. It's not about offense. It's about pitching. So that's like the only thing I'm worried about with the Tigers, because in terms of great pitching that will carry you through the postseason, I don't know if the Tigers have that. They have the bats. So if the pitching that they're up against messing up against the Tigers, yeah, the Tigers going to score ones on you and could win that game, win that series, and move on, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Even against like teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets and the Phillies, whatever the case may be. Luckily, they don't play all those teams. But the fact of the matter is this. When it comes to winning the World Series, I don't care how great you are hitting the baseball, that's not the determinant factor there. It's about great pitching. Like, how well you hit the ball can get you in the postseason, but once you're there, it's all about pitching. It's all about pitching. That's it. Now, in terms of where the argument about ring culture being a thing in basketball, and the fact that it's like more important in terms of defining legacies in basketball than it is in baseball and in football. Well, I'll just explain why. Because again, with baseball, it's all about pitching. Football, and Max has said this is right, I agree with this well. Like, there's a lot of the all-time great quarterbacks can get one Super Bowl, at least one. Because, like, yeah, winning a Super Bowl is, in terms of like all the professional sports, winning a Super Bowl is the most difficult thing to do. It really, really is. Everything has to be on sync. You don't have control of everything. Like, you could be a quarterback, but you can't control who catches the ball. You could be the quarterback, but you can't control stopping the other team. Getting an interception or getting a sack. You could be the quarterback, but you can't control how the punt goes or how the field goal goes and stuff like that. You can't control those things. So it's really difficult to win a Super Bowl than it is to win a World Series, a Stanley Cup, and an NBA and the Larry O'Brien trophy. It really, really is. So But the all-time great quarterbacks can get you one. And again, like, not every single all-time great quarterback done it. Like, for example, Dan Marino. So there's one right there. I want to say Warren Moon. I could be mistaken. I don't remember he got one or not. But nevertheless, the majority of all-time great quarterbacks have gotten one Super Bowl. So there's that. And now let's get on to basketball. So according to Max, the whole wing culture thing started with the centers, going back to the days of Wilt and Kareem and Bill Russell and stuff like that. So, and yeah, once upon a time, let's be real, once upon a time, the NBA was determined by great centers. They were determined by great centers. So if you were not a great center, you were not winning an NBA championship back in those days. But as the years went on, then it was like, okay, the guards are stepping up and determining things, and then the forwards stepping up are determining things now. So it's not all about the centers anymore. So that's right. And then nowadays the centers are trying to play like guards and forwards. So yeah, those days are over and done with. But it started with the center. Like, you needed to be a great center to win an NBA championship. So that's where it started from. So the argument that LeBron is trying to make, to me, is irrelevant. But let's tackle the subject as a whole. So, and I'm looking at Warren Moon's career awards. I'm seeing anything about him being a Super Bowl champion. So yeah, I agree. So yeah, I was correct right there. He was not a Super Bowl champion, unfortunately. But the argument as a whole. So this is where the likes of Gilbert Arenas and Tracy McGrady would come to play, because they were arguing that, like, yo, championships shouldn't matter in terms of your legacy, stuff like that, which is true. So let's be real. Tracy McGrady is a prime example, because Tracy McGrady was a dope basketball player. Obviously, he got his name, he got that recognition because he was in the same slam dunk contest as Vince Carter, his cousin, who won the whole thing, by the way. But ever since then, Tracy McGrady balled. He balled. And throughout, I try to remember Tracy McGrady's entire career, but at the very least, his time in Orlando, there was never, outside of when, Grant Hill showed up, but I felt like Tracy McGrady's entire career, he was never in a position where he was going to compete for an NBA championship. Like people would look at him and say, oh, this team is going to make some noise in the playoffs. Like, he was never on a squad where people felt that way about him. Like, never. I don't recall. And I'm looking at his career right now. So, like, his first 4 to 5 years with Orlando. Well, no, let's back up. His first 3 to 4 years with Toronto, like, they had a good squad. But did people look at them and say, oh, they're going to win the NBA championship? No, not really. And then he went to Orlando for 4 to 5 years. Did people look at them and say they were going to win the championship? No. Nope. Then he went to Houston, where he was there for 6 years, even though he was playing with the likes of Yao Ming. Did people look at them and say, oh, they have a shot to win the NBA championship? No, definitely not. Not with the likes of San Antonio over there. With, who else was over there? The Phoenix Suns, when they had Nash and Amari Stoudemire and Saul Marion, and Dallas with Dirk and once upon a time Steve Nash over there. Nah. Nobody was looking at Houston saying, oh, they're going to win the championship. And then after that, it was like he went to New York for a year, then he came to Detroit for a year, and then he went to Atlanta for a year, and then he wasn't even in the league for a year, and then he was with the Spurs for like half a year, whatever the case may be, and then he retired. And and at that point, when he was with the Spurs had a shot to win it that year, but they lost to, ironically enough, LeBron James in Miami. But at that point, Tracy, he was so old and he wasn't the driving force behind that squad. He wasn't the main guy for that squad. That would be Tim Duncan. So at that point, while he was on a team that could compete, but he wasn't a driving factor there. So throughout his entire career, not a lot of people look at him and say, oh, he's going to compete for an NBA championship. Like, he may make some noise in terms of like doing a little something here and there in the playoffs, but nobody looked at him and said, oh, he's going to lead this team to an NBA championship. And that was okay, because he balled. So even though he was never really a title contender for his entire career, he still balled. And anybody who knows the NBA knows that. So his legacy, to me, is intact. I think he's in the Hall of Fame. If he's not, he should. He's definitely going to be going to the Hall of Fame. Again, I don't remember if he is in the Hall of Fame or not, but in my opinion, yeah, he's going to be going into the Hall of Fame. And the top 75 NBA players of all time, no, he should not be on that. But top 100, yeah. I put on the top 100, all time, without question. So, oh yeah, he is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, cool. So he's in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, there you go. So, while argument, so in my opinion, his legacy is on point. His legacy is on point. And then the same can be said for guys like Gilbert Arenas and Yao Ming and stuff like that. Like, yeah, they all got legacies, but there's levels to this. There are levels to this. So at the end of the day, yeah, while the championship isn't the most important thing, or not, let me rephrase that because that's not an accurate statement that I said. The NBA championship is not the only important thing when it comes to defining a legacy. However, it is the most important thing. Like, there are other factors that are important, but this one is the most important because, let's be real, if you're a kid playing basketball by yourself and you got this scenario in your head, oh, there's 6 seconds left on the clock, he put it up for the championship, it's over, he made it, he's the NBA. Every kid who plays basketball did that. Nobody was having these imaginary dreams playing basketball to say, oh, he did it. He broke the scoring record. Oh, he did it. He broke the assist. No, when you are a kid, you are dreaming of hitting the game-winning shot that got you an NBA championship. Anybody who plays basketball done it at least once. I've done it plenty of times. So that's the main goal, to win an NBA championship. So, and the bottom line is, if you're coming into the league to say, yo, my main goal isn't to win an NBA championship. My main goal is to be the all-time leading assist leader. Oh my God, I gave myself the hiccups. You're sus as hell, dog. I'm like, what? Like, you in the wrong sport or something. Like, you're in the wrong profession. I don't know what's wrong with you. And then there's some cases where, like, for example, Carmelo Anthony is a prime example, who you can look at and say he only played the game for money. Because if he wanted, like, and he gave us, I guess, an excuse, if you want to call it that, in terms of why he didn't hook up with LeBron and D-Wade in Miami. But the bottom line is this. Instead of winning championships, he took the money. And he took lots of money from New York. So it was like, you could look at him and say, well, he didn't really care about NBA championships. He cared about the money. And he was getting paid lots of money in New York. So if you want to go that route, okay, fine, so be it. But at the same time, I don't want to hear a thing about legacy. Because, again, championships is a main component to defining one's legacy. So nobody is saying that the likes of Charles Barkley and Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing and Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and Karl Malone and John Stockton are not, and Reggie Miller, I think I said them already, I don't know, are not all-time greats. That's blasphemous. Because some of those names that I mentioned are top 75. Some of them are even top 50 all time. So, like, well, again, the NBA championship is a very important thing to define your legacy, but it's not the only thing that defines your legacy. Otherwise, some of those guys that I named would not be top 50 all time, nor top 75 all time. So, keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, you played the game to win an NBA championship. You played the game to win NBA championships, and that will help define your legacy. So, the bottom line is this. Winning culture, in terms of, oh, should it define your legacy? The bottom line is, yeah, because you enter the league to win championships. Nothing else unless you're trying to make money. Outside of that, you enter the league to win championships. So this complaint about winning culture, to me, is like total nonsense for the most part. And here's another thing. Some of the guys that came before you will look at these younger players and say, y'all need to bitch up. I mean, y'all need to stop bitching rather. Y'all need to man up because either y'all win or y'all didn't. And that's how it was. That's how they are. So, and they want to hold this generation the same standard that as the generation that came before them. So, yeah, basically stop bitching. Either you got an NBA championship, you got multiple NBA championships, or you don't. But there's levels to this. So if you did not get one and you were a superstar, you were a great player, yeah, your legacy is intact, as in you're a great player. You're in the Hall of Fame, as rightfully so. Top 50, rightfully so. Top 75, rightfully so. Top 100, whenever they do that, yeah, that's deserved. But should you be top 10 if you don't win an NBA championship? No. Should you be in the GOAT conversation even though you don't win an NBA championship? No. Hell no. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on that, and I'm going to call it a wrap. And with all that said, y'all know this is your boy New Jack Aspie, a.k.a. New Stimulated Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.